ever. Right. Like and I've seen them all. I've seen Prince 3 times live. Love Prince. Prince was actually a fan of mine. I have a Prince story. That shit blew my mind, like to no end. But as far as performers go, Michael is that dude. But anyway, so yeah, that was the trajectory for me was watching Def Comedy Jam and taking the impressions that I used to do to make my mom and family laugh and saying, okay, well, I'm a stage performer anyway. I'm a dancer. I've been doing that since I was 10. Let me put the two and two together and try this comedy thing.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Another question for you. I'm losing my shot. Okay. Def Comedy Jam. So you see this now. You end up being on Def Comedy Jam. How did that connect? Like, did you have to go through that journey and say, hey, you know what, comedy? Let me try this comedy. Go do the stand up route. How did you get booked on that?
Bob Sumner. I'll say it 1,000 times. Bob Sumner was the one talent scout for Def Comedy Jam, and he used to travel everywhere, every club in the nation, and he discovered everybody, everybody that we know and love today, with the exception of, of course, Eddie and Martin. Right. Bob didn't discover Martin, but I'm sure he had an influence on who that host was going to be. Right. With Def Comedy Jam, but Martin was already in another stratosphere. But yeah, he discovered everybody. Bill Bellamy, Bernie Mac, City Entertainer, everyone that came through Def Comedy Jam. Chris Tucker,
right?
Bob Sumner. So he came to Charlotte. He saw me doing open mic, and the rest was a wrap. Here's the thing. Let me say this.
Yeah.
He saw me the first year, and he said, man, I love what you're doing, but you're not ready yet. Come back next year. So this is a lesson to people that hear and know and take that as Bible and give up. You know what I mean? So I came back next year, and I got on. And I'm sitting in this chair now after being told no 1,000 times in this industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been told no a lot, but if I would have took those no's as Bible, I wouldn't be here.
Your journey on during the like going to the comedy clubs, hitting that pavement, to people who are listening who might even want to be a comedian. I mean, that journey, is it one of the? Tell them a little bit about like what's experience. I think people see, oh, you know what, I'm funny, and now everybody's trying to just do something real quick, it's like the rap game. Drop something fast, get on fast, then boom, I'm in. But they don't know the work. What does it take? Like, and then even those people that you looked up to, like the Eddies, and Jamie went through. There's a lot of people who've been through these journeys.
They all put in work.
Yeah.
Everyone that you name, you name a great, they got a resume of work, a resume of stuff that you haven't seen. That became their training ground for who they are today.
Right.
There's a body of work. You got a body of work you did before you became a director today. Right?
Right.
So when it comes to comedy, I say that with anything. Like, I can take a can of frosting and go inside and spread this frosting on a slice of bread. That's not a cake. There's ingredients and time that goes into making a cake. There's a process. And there's a lot of people that's trying to shoot past the process because these phones have made it quicker for you to put out material. But here's the thing. I've seen a lot of people that came up on YouTube from making quick videos or came up on these phones and got an opportunity, and the opportunity there was no meat in that opportunity. They didn't have the body of work that was going to keep that opportunity afloat. I've been in this industry 25 years, and that's not by accident. It's because I've taken every opportunity, every relationship, and I brought my experience to each project, one project at a time, and made my presence known. And you see the body of work. So, case in point, I did Soul Man with Bernie Mac and Sam Jackson. It was a full circle moment because when I first started doing comedy, my impression of Bernie Mac was what gave me the confidence to say, if I could sound like him, one of the funniest people out, they're going to think I'm funny too. So I started, on my first Def Jam set, I did Bernie Mac. So then I'm working with him on Soul Man, and he looks at me, he says, man, you got it. You remind me a lot of myself. He said, keep doing what you're doing. I see a lot of myself in you, and you really got the gift to take it where it needs to go. Opened for Steve Harvey one time, way back in the day when I was doing stand-up. And I had a horrible show. His crowd came to see him. And they're like, who the hell is this young comedian standing on stage talking about nothing? Right. They was looking at their watches. They was ordering food. They was having conversations at the table amongst themselves. It was so bad. Steve had to come out at the last show. He had to come back out on stage. So I was hosting, right? He left. He said goodnight. I go back out, and the comedy club wants me to keep going for another 10, 15 minutes because they didn't finish settling all the bills. So I'm out there scared as shit because I already know they weren't feeling me. So I'm out there trying jokes that are, everything's failing. Everything. Steve, I hear a voice from behind the curtain. Affion. I was like, what? He's like, man, come on, man. Just go on, sit on down backstage, man. Just go on, sit on down. He came out and sat on the stool and just did a Q&A so the club could finish taking up the building because I was so out of my element. I couldn't do nothing with that crowd that night. Right. But he sat me down backstage and said, you got what it takes. You just got to keep working hard. He could have used that opportunity to shit on me or to say, man, you this and that. But he took almost an hour of his time to say, you got it. So what he saw was the body of work. He didn't pay attention to the moment and judge me from the moment. He saw the body of work. He saw the skill set and the gift. And he said, you have to hone that, though. It's not just going to come to you just because you got the gift. He said, you have to hone that. He said, but you can make millions at this. He said that to me that night. This was like in 97. Wow. In Savannah, Georgia. Wow. But I said all of that to say, if you don't have the ingredients and the right amount of time, you're not going to have a cake.
Some of y'all need to get the cake right. Because you got to have it all. You got to have the you got to get the eggs. You got to get the batter. You got to get the right amount of water. You got to put it in and mix it and do the work, right? Whip it up. Don't nobody want to whip that stuff. That's the energy, that all of that, what it takes.
You can't bypass the process.
I agree. I agree. Talk about Eddie Murphy to you. What does that gentleman mean to you, man? Because let me tell you, Eddie Murphy is one of the number one people for me that made me want to do this. I remember specifically one time, and it was Beverly Hills Cop. And I was a kid, and I remember I had never seen, there was that scene in Beverly Hills Cop where he's in the car, and they see the people going in to do all the drugs and stuff, and he's with the cops, and the cop, he says, so what we gonna do? And the music is like moving, dun, 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 dun. And he says, he goes in there and he does it, and the whole crowd yelled. And I looked, that was like the first experience where I heard the people just scream. And I was like, oh my God. And then Eddie's also the last person the last butt whooping I got was because of Eddie Murphy Raw. Unfortunately, mother whipped me for watching that movie. But my point is, and Boomerang is actually one of the films that created actually Tridestin, my business partner, Indy Brown and myself. The core of that was images like what he put out on Boomerang and Coming to America and Harlem Nights and just creating his own journey and changing the perspective of how we see ourselves. That was, for us, how this became.
I mean, we can talk about Eddie all day. I concur and I co-sign everything you said. Like, that Eddie, first of all, let's talk 48 Hours. Come on. 48 Hours was the first time we saw, since Sidney Poitier in they call me Mr. Tibbs when he slapped
right.
shit out of a white man on screen.
Right.
At a time when you weren't seeing black people as strong people, right?
Yeah.
And then when him and Bill Cosby got together and did those string of movies in the 70s, we saw a little bit of it there too. But Eddie single-handedly took it to Hollywood.
Yes.
Outside of the black community. Absolutely. And he still maintained his blackness. And from SNL, going into a white institution like SNL as a teenager, and taking over. Yeah. Improvising a show that encourages using cue cards. He goes on and improvises. And the shit that he's just doing from his soul is the best shit they ever saw on that show. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Then 48 Hours. He's just singing, he sings Roxanne. Right? The Police song with a Walkman headphones on. And that made America say, who the fuck is this dude? This young black dude singing Sting in the jail cell and owned the scene. Then Reggie Hammond scene in the bar. Yeah. When he takes this whole 6-7 minutes and just owns the whole scene. Right. And that was applause worthy if you watched it in the movie theater. Yeah. And then you know, like you said, trading places. I mean, just the whole right. I mean, I know. And he's on screen with major, seasoned white actors. Yes. And he's a bona fide nigga, but not in a diminished sense. He's a nigga, but he's empowering those of us who identify with being from the street or being a nigga or being a hardworking 9-to-5 person. I know what you mean. Yeah. The everyday black man, the strong, everyday working hard for his family. He took that guy and became that in this pool of seasoned Hollywood actors. Yeah. And we hadn't seen it in that way from one black dude doing that as a comedian too. Yeah. Because Sidney was not a comedian, but Eddie did it as a comedian. So, and then fast forward to Boomerang. When it comes to America, that's a whole nother world. Come to America. I mean, you see me. I do characters, impressions. Like Eddie, he's the reason I do what I do. But Boomerang, what was so brilliant about Boomerang and Coming to America, you're right. It changed the way black people are seen on film. Boomerang was beautiful. The most beautiful black people on that. And we all had good jobs in Boomerang. Yep. All had jobs, all had dope outfits. The soundtrack was banging. The storyline was great. It was just about a human being. It was about a man who's a player who gets the wheels turned on him by another female player. Yeah. That could have been anybody, any race of people in that movie. So he took that concept and put the dopest black people in it. And then Eddie is the one comedian in the black community that has been gracious enough and confident enough to truly collaborate with the greats. Yeah. Harlem Nights, Boomerang. I mean, we're talking about Chris Rock, Martin Lawrence, David Allen Greer, Halle Berry, Robin Givens, like all these different actors. And then Harlem Nights, of course, Red Fox, Richard Pryor. I mean, he went and got everybody. Then he did it in Life. The same thing. I mean, good God. Yeah. Matt, Miguel Nunez, Guy Torry, Anthony Anderson. Like, it goes on and on. And then Martin Lawrence, of course, is his co-star. Right. So Eddie is one of the only comedians that has really shared the screen and gave other people opportunity. He discovered Chris Rock, who's another GOAT of mine. Yes. He put Arsenio on, who's another GOAT. Like, I mean, Keenan used to write, co-wrote Raw, you know what I mean? Or the sketch from Raw, the opening sketch. So anyway, all that to say, I understand what you see and what he did and why that influenced you. I'm a child of the same influence. Yeah. Now, when it comes to sketch comedy and impersonations, is there one that just for you that you do that it just
it's the one for you. Like, I mean, you do a lot. I mean, we everybody knows. You know, you do the Jay-Z. We've seen them all. I mean, hey, you have this one with Kanye West. I need to know how this idea came up. When we finish this now, go on his page and you see the last image, the last video is you of Kanye West. What inspired you to do this?
I just have these ideas, man. I don't know where they come from. I just get inspired to, because that was an original song. It wasn't a parody of a song he did. I produced the song. I wrote it as something that he would say, or would do. And that was done in 2011. That's a throwback video. Okay. So the thing about me is I don't get pigeonholed into one thing, because people would try to do that. They think I'm just an impressionist, but then I'll put up a video of me dancing, and they're like, "Wait, you dance? Yeah. Still? Yeah. You rap? Oh wait, you rap? You was on Sway? You did a 5 Fingers of Death and killed it? Oh shit! Oh, you was on a BET Cypher? You was spitting bars? So I can't say that I have one thing that is my thing, because I do a little bit of everything. So it's like
right. Yeah, no.
Whatever I'm feeling is what you're gonna get.
And talk about that, because I told when I had that conversation with Yvette, I was explaining to her how, when you break in, a lot of times people put you and they see you one way, but you obviously know all these things that you have. How did you? I found that what you did is you created your own imagery. You showed the world what it was. You took a camera. You've taken creative control to show the world I'm not a one-man show. And is that what it was? Because now everybody says an actor. Like you said, all the different phases of you. How did you shift it from being a comedian only to now everybody sees the whole majority of this perspective of you?
Yeah, I pay attention to certain people, right? Like the two specific people, Jamie Foxx and Yvette's co-star Donald Glover. I've been a fan of Jamie since In Living Color, and when I first heard his music from Infatuation, I was a fan. I was like, wow, this dude really got multi-facets, you know what I mean? But the world wasn't ready for it yet, and then he came back around. Timing is everything, and then he got with Kanye West, and Gold Digger and all that stuff came about, and then Jamie had his own music career. Blame it on the alcohol and, all these different multiple albums. Then Donald Glover, I was a fan of his on YouTube. When he was with his sketch crew, Derek Comedy. One of the funniest groups of sketch comedians from the early YouTube days. And he was one black dude with all these white boys, but he was always hilarious. And I used to just watch their videos and just crack up at this dude. And then when I saw him on Community, I was like, oh yeah, he deserves that shot. Like he's earned it. He has a body of work.
Right.
He already had the body of work, self-produced, self-written. He was already a performer. He was the star of that crew. Mm-hmm. So to see him, I discovered that he was Childish Gambino from somebody else. They were like, yeah, I listen to Childish Gambino. You know Donald Glover, right? I was like, wait, he raps?
Right.
I knew him from stand-up, and he just seemed like this, he just seemed like a rapper to me. I was like, wait, you mean he raps? But anyway, to see how he just was like, I'm just going to present myself, and however you receive it, you receive it. And he actually made it more acceptable, I feel. That now everybody's doing it. Like you see DC Young Fly, he got an album out, and now is the time where it's like, all right, everything's acceptable. Yeah. So now I'm like, y'all gonna get this work. Whatever I give you is what you're gonna get. Right. And you're gonna accept it all. I ain't gonna explain shit. I'm gonna drop it on y'all. And y'all can raise your eyebrows all day, but I've been doing this shit since I was 10 years old. So,
right.
Here we are.
Speaking of, don't you have tell us a little bit? Tell us about Watch the Clone. What the on iTunes? Tell us about that. Like, what is that? Tell me, how did that come about too?
In the spirit of what you just saw, the Ego video, the Kanye West Ego. Yeah. When I first heard the album, and this is me as a rap fan, as a hip hop fan, when I first heard the album Watch the Throne, I wasn't a fan of it. Because here it is, two of my favorite rappers at the time were gonna collaborate, I wanted to hear production that was more along the lines of Get 'em High and Get By.
Right.
Those, or on the Jay-Z side, the stuff he was doing over Just Blaze beats, like PSA. Allow me to reintroduce myself, my name. Boom, boom, boom. I wanted to hear the boom bap shit. I wanted Pete Rock to be on that album. But it sounded like all of the songs kind of sounded like Forever Young. And it had that U2-ish thing. Mm-hmm. And as a fan, I was disappointed because I already knew lyrically they was going to go nuts. Right. The production didn't satisfy me at all. So I was like, man, I want to do an album that's like I want to take their voices and do the album that I wanted to hear and do beats that I love. So it became, all right, I'm going to just do Jay and Kanye. And I'm going to do an album called Watch the Clone. That's why it's a gold album, just like Watch the Throne. Yeah. So it's like Watch the Clone, the guy who can clone himself into all these different people. That's the concept. Yeah. So it started out with Jay and Kanye songs. So I had a couple of them solo and then back and forth. And then I've been known to do impressions of different people. So it just became this hodgepodge of me doing Chris Brown, Eminem, Drake, Lil Wayne, 2 Chainz, Jay, Kanye, and my boy Jevin Smith, he's another beast. He's been my we've done sketches together for a while. He did Dr. Dre and E40 and Meek Mill on the album. Mm. So it was Watch the Clone. Like we just did this whole album of all original beats. I produced the beats based on what I wanted to hear them rap over. So the first track, Jay-Z called MF Kid, is the beat. The way I produced it was like what Just Blaze would have done back for Jay in like the earlier days. Right. But that's the concept of the album. It's original songs in the voices of all these artists of what I'm just rapping about what I think they would say in certain scenarios. Now available on iTunes. Still available on iTunes. Oh, yeah, right now. Available on iTunes. Yeah, it's on iTunes, guys, so y'all got to check that out. Let's talk about relationships and guiding relationships, navigating in this business. The